how to find equivalent fractions. We're going to look at some circles and number lines along with fraction strips to figure out equivalent fractions. Let's start with 1/3. All in this circle, we're going to pretend that all three of these sections are equal. So the red section is 1/3. What's equivalent to that? Let's draw a number line from 0 to 1, and I use my fraction strips to lay out. Here would be 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. So I've labeled 1/3. Now then if I lay out my sixths, you'll notice that my sixths line up with the thirds. As in 1/2/6 is equal to 1/3. So because these two fraction strips take up the same as 1/3, 2/6 equals 1/3. They are equivalent fractions. Here's how that would look in terms of a circle. You would have a circle broken into 3 parts. 1/3 is shaded. Then I can have a circle broken into 6 parts. 2 of those 6 are shaded. These are equivalent fractions. Even though this top part is shaded and over here it's kind of on the side. It doesn't make a difference where the shading occurs. 2/6 is always equal to 1/3. Here's an example of 3/4. I've drawn a number line from 0 to 1 and laid out fraction strips. Up here I've laid out eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down here I've laid out fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to figure out how many how many eighths is equal to 3/4. Here's 3/4. I've drawn it on my number line, kind of went straight up, put it on there, and now I'm looking at the eighths. Well, how many is equivalent? We got to get to here. So I can start here at the number line, count back almost. Down and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can fill in this box. 6/8 is going to be equal to 3/4. Let's look at that same problem again. Find an equivalent fraction to 3/4. You might start out drawing a number line using your whole fraction strip, laying out your fourths, and finding 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Label that on my number line. Now, I lay out my eighths, or any other fraction you might find that could be equivalent, and I lay them all out, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll see the sixth lines right up, takes up the same amount of space as 3/4. So 6/8 and 3/4 are equivalent fractions. Last thing I want to talk about here is 1/2. 1/2 has a lot of equivalents. Put them all up here for you, the ones that we need to study. You have 1/2. I have a circle shaded in, half of it. There's 2 equal parts, 1 shaded in, 1/2. Here I have another circle. There's 4 equal parts. I've shaded in 2 of them. Well, even though they're not the same spots or even next to each other, they're still equal to 1/2. Down here I have 8 equal parts. 4 of them are shaded in. That is equivalent to 1/2. You kind of can see this line right down here. You can see this is actually kind of just looks like half of the circle. So 4/8 equals 1/2 equals 2/4. And finally 6. Again, I have 3 of the 6 total shaded in. And you can see that this is the same as 1/2, just in a different location in the circle. That's great, Mr. Donnelly, with circles, but I have fraction strips. How do these fraction strips work? Well, it's the same thing. You lay them all out, your halves, fourths, 6, and 8ths, and you can start your number line, 0 to 1. I use my whole to draw my number line, and then you'll see 1/2 is just one of my 2 halves. That's right here on the number line. And if I lay out my fourths, 2 of them will get me to the same point on the number line, so they're equivalent. 1, 2, 3, 6 gets me to the same point, so that's equivalent. And finally, 1, 2, 3, 4/8 again gets me to the half on my number line. So all 4 of these fractions, 1/2, 2/4, 3/6, and 4/8 are all equivalent. They all equal 1/2.